Hey everybody, Dan Spezzano, Maximum Pixelation. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a game called Spartacus. Now Spartacus is based on the hit TV show on Stars, and when I say based on, it uses the artwork and the characters from the show, but do not fear, this game is a winner. This was a surprise of the show for me, as I just said. I was walking out of the convention hall. I sat down for a demo just to get a laugh. I played for a half an hour with 3 other people. All 4 of us got up from the demo, walked over, and bought this game. It's a game about scheming, manipulating, and rising to power as a dominus of a gladiator house. You're going to buy and sell slaves and gladiators, scheme against your fellow players, and go ahead and try and get the most influence, or try and get to a certain amount of influence to win the game. It's not a game for everybody in the fact that you can make deals and break deals. It's really a double-crossing type of game. It does have some set rules, but the bottom line is you can kind of get away with almost anything you want with some exceptions. Okay? It actually says in the rules when you're playing this game to not be an ass, and we all have gamer friends who are asses. This is not the game for them. So I'm going to get it set up and show you what it's about. Okay, let's take a look at what comes in the box with Spartacus, a game of blood and treachery. Again, like I said in the beginning, I sat down, played this demo with 3 other guys. All 4 of us got up out of the demo, 20 minutes, walked to the front, and bought this game. Absolute surprise hit of Gen Con, in my opinion. So, I'm going to get a rule book. The rules are pretty straightforward. Could probably use a little cheat sheet because there's a couple things to remember in terms of fighting and favor and champions and all that stuff. But the rules are straightforward. Gameplay is 4. You got 4 houses for the different dominus. So you've got 4 player boards that are also used to track your influence. You're starting slaves and gold. Slaves and gladiators and guards and gold special abilities. So these are really thick, nice quality. You've got a board. Now the only thing the board is used for is for the combat portion of the game, which you might be thinking, well, that's going to slow the game down. It's not a quick game, but the combat itself really isn't that time consuming. Actually, it's usually over pretty quick, the combat. So this is the board. You can see on the corners that there'll be betting going on when the 2 gladiators are in the arena. And speaking of which, there's 4 miniatures for the gladiators, 1 for each house. They're not designated by house, so you just pick whichever ones you want. Pretty nice sculpts, actually, if you ask me. Job done there. So 4 gladiators. There's a lot of gold in here. Looks like this. I'm not going to go ahead and pull all that out. There's tokens for being the host. Each house has tokens for when you put bets down. For example, if I put 2 bets on a victory for this guy, I cap it with my token. There's also in here a square token of the same house for the houses to mark on your player board that looks like that. And then there's some tokens, like I was saying, for favor and injury and champions. So you got some cardboard tokens. You got a whole bunch of dice in 3 colors. You got blue, black, and red. Blue is speed for initiative and how far you can move. Red is for combat, for attacks, and black is for defense. Real quickly, let's just say we had a 2-on-2 defense. You roll and you create a string highest to lowest. So the attacker rolled a 6 and a 4 here, and the defender a 5 and a 4, and basically that's one hit and that's a block. So, or actually that's a hit, sorry. And you've got cards, lots of cards. So turn sequence cards, which probably aren't that interesting to take a look at. But you've got your marketplace cards. And marketplace cards consist of, there's some basic starting cards for slaves and gladiators. And these have the same background as the other ones. Excuse me, they've got a white border. And then the rest of them look like this. So you've got slaves, you've got gladiators, they all have attributes, how much they sell for, how much you can sell them for, special abilities. You can send to the arena, if you're offered an invitation, a slave or a gladiator. So if you've got a slave you want to kind of send out there, get rid of, you can do that. And then these are the intrigue cards here. There's a huge stack of those, and those are used in the game for schemes and reactions and agendas and all sorts of other things. So you do this during the intrigue phase of the turn. So this is pretty much everything you get with the game. And that about covers the goods of the game. So that's what you get with Spartacus. And I will give you some brief rundown on how the game's played in the next segment. Thanks. Hey everybody, Dan Spezzano, Maximum Pixelation, and I'm going to give you a rundown on how you play Spartacus, a quick overview. I'm not going to go through everything. So Spartacus, like I said, is a game of treachery, combat, scheming, dealing. It plays up to 4. I guess you could play this with 2, but I'm not really sure how much fun that would be. I haven't tried it yet. I think 3 or 4 is necessary. The goal of this game is to get to 12 influence. There's 3 games types. There's the short game, where you start the game at 7 influence. They say that takes 2 hours. There's the standard game, which you start at 4 influence. They say that takes 3+ hours. And then there's the advanced game, or like I like to call the psychotic game, where you start at 1 influence. You might think getting from 7 to 12, how is it going to take 2 hours? Well, it does, because influence can go up and down through various factors throughout the game. This is one of the houses, and this house has special rules. This house is supposed to start with 2 gladiators, 2 slaves. I've only put 1 out on each side here, and 1 guard, and 12 gold. But I've just set some of this up just so we can talk about how it plays. So the turn is broken down into 4 phases, and the host, we'll say that I'm the host, is the person who goes at the who goes first at the start of the phases. So the first phase is upkeep, and you can pretty much do this. Basically, you're able to refresh cards. Cards can get tapped. You can heal injuries on gladiators. Gladiators can get injured, and then you basically have to balance your ledgers. And then let's see what that means is you have to have an equal number of slaves and gladiators. Slaves produce the gold, gladiators cost gold. If you have an unequal number, you have to pay that in gold. So the upkeep phase goes fairly quickly, and then we move to the intrigue phase. So starting with the host is going to draw 3 intrigue cards to his hand, and then he's going to play schemes and cash-in cards or whatever. On the board, depending upon where you're at, you have a hand size. Like right now I'm on 5, so I can never have more than 5 cards. So I've got 4 in my hand as an example, and then I would draw 3 intrigue, which will give me 7. Well, that's too many. So what I want to do is then go ahead and play some of these schemes or cash them in. So now a special type of card is the guard card. This is, as you can see, an intrigue card. Guard cards can be played to the table, but they can also be held in your hand. Guard cards can be used to try and foil a scheme, but if you want to save your hand size, you can play them to the table at any time. But you can keep them in your hand to kind of use them as a surprise when you need to. So playing a card, the upper corner, which might be hard to see, is the amount of influence it takes to play a card. Now, you just need to have this influence. You don't actually pay it. So this one costs 2, and basically this is called Revenge, and if I play this, it gives +2 influence to the dominus with the least influence. May not be played if there's a tie for least influence. So I can boost somebody up, including myself. I can also sell cards. There's a cost down in the bottom quarter. This one's worth 1. So I can sell cards and during this intrigue phase. So I play my schemes. So I have 7 influence. Here's one right here called Support for Home. This costs 8 influence to play. Okay, well, I don't have 8, but I can kind of make deals with other people to kick me influence. This is to foil a scheme, but there's others in here where you can get gold or any other, particularly like the name of this one, Jupiter's Cock. Anyway, you can play cards to get gold and recruit slaves and all sorts of other things, and you can make deals with people. And you can say, look, you give me 2 influence, I'll give you 3 of the gold. And they can agree to it or not agree to it. And once they agree to it, you're the one who collects the reward, the person who's playing the card. And then whether you honor the deal is up to you. So I could say, give me 2 influence, I'm getting 8 gold, and I will give you 3 gold of it. And you say, okay. Once you say okay, it's a binding deal. I take the 8 gold, and then I tell you to go screw. So that's possible. But anyway, at the end of the intrigue phase for myself, I need to make sure that I am down to my hand size. So in this case, it's 5. So I could play a guard to the table. I still have 6. And if I don't play a scheme, I could sell one like this to the bank for 2 gold. So that's the intrigue phase. It goes one at a time around the board, so the host goes first and then other people follow. After everybody has played their cards in the intrigue phase, we then go and we move to, I'm just clearing these away to make room, you don't actually clear them away. We go to the market phase. So the market phase is broken down into, a couple of steps. The first step is the open market. Players are able to trade or barter or sell slaves and gladiators back to the market for their value. The slaves worth 2 down here. I'm also able to trade with other people. I can say I'll give you 4 gold for that slave because maybe they want that slave for a reason. Somebody wants that slave. We could just barter and trade outright. Open market, you can pretty much do anything you want. The only thing you cannot do is trade intrigue cards, but you can trade slaves, gold, etc. So you have the open market phase. Once everybody has, or once you have finished your open market, you're supposed to take your treasury, which is common knowledge to them, pick it up and put it in your hand, because then we move to the auction phase. And so what happens during the auction phase is for every player, a card comes out. We'll say we have 4. So 4 cards come out face down. And then what happens is we go ahead and you turn the first one over. And this is a slave called Marcellus. He's a spy, intrigue, exhaust to look at 1 random card and then chosen dominus' hand. So anybody who wants him would then put some money in their hand, and it's a common blind bid. Once everybody's out, you turn it over. The highest bidder wins. If there's a tie for the bid, those people put their money down, go back in, come out again, and do this again. If you don't win the bid, you get your money back. If you win the bid, you obviously pay and take the card. So things come out here, gladiator, slaves. There's also weapons that can come out that are useful. I didn't happen to grab one during that draw, but there are weapons that are useful to give to your gladiators. So after we bid for all the things that are currently on sale in the auction, then we bid for the host. And again, it's a blind bid. Being the host is good at this point. You're going to go first next turn, but as host, you get to pick, offer the invitation, to the people you want to go in and fight during the next phase, which is the arena phase. So I can offer player A an invitation, and if he accepts, he picks one of his slaves or gladiators and puts them up on the board, and they're going to come out and fight. If he elects not to do that for any reason, he's going to lose some influence, and what happens is that I can also pick myself, is then I'll offer it to somebody else. So I offer the first person, then I offer the second person. If by some chance everybody refuses the offer except for myself, okay, then there is no combat phase on that turn. Because people don't want to lose influence, it probably doesn't happen. The other thing that happens during the combat phase is there's betting. So anyway, you're going to bid for the host, and then you're going to have the host. And finally, the arena phase. Basically, each... I'm sorry, during the arena phase, I kind of skipped ahead. The host is going to get a +1 to his influence, and then he's going to offer the invites. When the invites accept, they're going to get paid based on a couple things. If they have a lot of favor, they get more money. If they're a champion, they get more money, etc. And then the winner of the fight is also going to get +1 influence. So what happens is, let me clear these guys away here, is we finally get around to fighting. And I kind of showed you combat before, but the guys will go out onto the board into the spots, and then combat will take place. Most combats don't last longer than 5 minutes, from what I can tell. And as I said, you can place wagers, collect wagers. At the end of the combat, the host decides if the loser lives or dies. Again, there's all sorts of influence losses here and that. For example, if the champion should lose, then you're not able to execute or not able to call for his death. The crowd would go too crazy. There's also, like I said, injuries that can be healed. There's decapitations where you don't have to worry about giving a thumbs up or thumbs down. The person's going to die. So you kind of rinse, repeat this cycle until somebody hits 12, and that's it. That's the gist of the game. It is a really, really, really good game. So let me wrap this up in a second, but that's really how you play Spartacus. Hey guys, welcome back. Going to finish up the video review of Spartacus. I'll also be writing some stuff about it on the blog. I'm sorry, on the site as things move along here. So, like I said again, this for me was the surprise of Gen Con. And I was that close to not playing this game. I looked at the branding, the artwork, it's based on the Stars show. And I almost passed it by thinking it was going to be kind of a, let's say, a Cryptozoic Walking Dead game. Okay, I thought that's what we were going to get, but, lucky for me, I sat down at that table and I played this for a half an hour with those 3 other guys. And like I said, all 4 of us have never seen this happen before. In my experience as Gen Con, all 4 of us got up, walked over, and bought this game. That's how good I think it is. I don't give a lot of buy-its because everybody's got different tastes, so usually I'm going to try it with some caveats. I'm telling you to buy this game. I'm telling you that this is a very, very, very good game, and if you don't enjoy it, well, you're not going to have any trouble unloading it because you're going to find somebody who does. It's got everything. It's got combat. It's got some nice arena combat with miniatures that doesn't take too long. It's got betting. It's got, scheming, trickery, screwing over your friends, making deals and double-crossing them, buying slaves, selling slaves, gladiators, champions fighting, and, it's got the vulgarity of the Star show on some of the cards, as I just showed you before. But it's a very good game. In fact, I'm convinced that this game is going to find its way into places like Target and maybe Toys R Us or Walmart, and because of the branding and because of the Stars backing, and people are going to pick this up going, oh, Spartacus game, I like that show, and they're going to get home and they're not going to know what they're in for because this is not a light game. There's a lot going on. Like I said, it takes several hours to play with 4 people. The only caveat is I haven't played this yet, as I said, with 2 people. I don't think it's going to be very, very fun with 4 people. I'm sorry, I don't think it's going to be very fun with 2 people. I think you need 3, at least 4, or else you're just going to be beating on each other. It doesn't make sense. I guess the only other downside is it only plays 4. And it would probably have been better with more, but it would probably increase the game time. So Spartacus gets a double thumbs up for me. It lives. I'd say buy it, enjoy it, send me an email, thank me later. That's it. Catch you next time.